Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to episode 7 of At What Cost. I'm TheSource, joining me is Azaraki, and today's a really hot day outside.
Yeah, for both of us actually. It very
Yeah, I had to go into the basement, find the air conditioner, try not to die getting up the stairs, to the second floor of my house where my room is, try not to let the air conditioner fall out my window, and that was fun. But we're here, we're alive, we'll suffer through the heat, and should be good. Today's gonna be a little bit of a lighter episode, guys. There isn't as much to talk about in general right now.
You guys haven't sent anything in yet either.
Yeah, there's that. No one's sent anything in. We'll probably be doing a little bit more discussion today, as we did last week, which was really great. Got you guys talking a lot and asking a bunch of questions, which was cool. So mostly what we're going to talk about this week is, since we don't have a patch, we don't have a new character, we're going to go with misplays. Overcommitting to things, staying too long in lane, bad judgment on positioning, and, not fulfilling the role that your character is supposed to be doing. And seeing it happens when other people do it. So we'll get right into it.
Alright.
And swap things over. It should be at 6 seconds on the shaper selection, 0 at the start of the video.
Yep.
Alright, we'll start in 3, 2, 1. And so these were some group games we played that didn't go so hot. There were a few new players in here, but mostly what we're going to talk about is things that just went considerably wrong. And actually there's a couple of seconds, I think, where I have to readjust my stream overlay at one point, because I looked over and it's really big. A section of the stream was cut off, so it should fix itself at some point. But our team is Zalgus, Mina, Petrus, Vex, and Dibs.
Indeed. And the people who we queued with, I'm the one playing Petrus, Braun is on Zalgus, Hawkeye, who is someone we hang out with a lot and is a really good guy, is on Vex, and we also have Omaze on Dibs, and he is the token new player in our group. He's only played a few games of Dawngate so far, so we were also trying to help him out and help him to learn the game while we were playing this one.
Yep, so we've got Mina Zalgus, which isn't a terrible lane. To be honest, I would have preferred the swap, but at the same time, Vex isn't particularly mobile, doesn't make as much use of Mina's ability to jump on and off. She's a great protector, but, it was alright for us to have the Dibs over in the other lane. Vex does a really good job of proccing Dibs' Nightmare. It's not very hard for him. He's got 2 ranged abilities plus basic attacks. A lot of good ways for him to lane his damage. So for the most part, our lanes are pretty squishy. We were kind of relying on Azaraki on Petrus to be our main tank.
That we were, and I'm starting out with the standard jungle start, just starting at the resilience buff and working my way down, so nothing really crazy happening, no invades at the beginning of the game, everything is just standard, basically. Not a lot of action happening in the very first seconds of the game, but yeah, as you said, I'm going to be the one who's the tanky one on our team as Petrus, and that's not really a problem. I usually play my Petrus towards the tankier side rather than the counter carry side of things.
Them potency Petruses, those are terrifying.
Never actually seen that. Oh
man, I get them every once in a while where you get a potency Petrus, and basically his job is he's trying to thunder fist you with the Q, and just single target Q damage. Here's a bunch of damage, here's the health percentage, add more health percentage lightning damage on top of that, and then it's magic damage. So it allows you to get a little bit of variation in the build.
Yeah, but I will be going for a straight tank build, which just involves a lot of health, a lot of armor, and a lot of magic resist, so that's fairly standard tank stuff. I'm not quite sure exactly what my build is this game, but it's along those lines. I don't really deviate too often.
Yep. So my lane, Mina Zalgus up against Mara Vex, we can do a lot of harass, as you guys can clearly see. My early snare is pretty dangerous. I've also got the slow because I started with my W. So I've got that 24-second regen slow, which does reduce as you level up the ability, I believe. And, we also have Mina Disruption. You see right there, I do get the chain off, and I do get the W, or the E off, but I couldn't really follow it up. I didn't have enough raw burst damage yet. Dawngate does do a very good job at all levels of being a strong burst mage, but for the most part, at early levels, up against Vex Mara, I'm not going to get that close to them. They will jump on me and kill me if I do.
Yeah, and Zalgus is really good early game at poking out, but as you said, he doesn't really have too much burst damage to secure a kill unless you end up poking them to death beforehand until you get your ultimates, so that's not going to be for another couple of levels. And so far, everything is still fairly standard, just poking out every now and again. The cool part about Zalgus lane is that you're up against Vex, who doesn't really have a lot of mobility, so if you do fire a snare at him, then he's going to have to rely really heavily on his reactions to try to sidestep it rather than use any sort of dashing or mobility ability in order to do that, in order to escape it. So you have a little bit of an easier time landing your Q than on some other shapers, like Mikella, for example.
Yeah. And you guys just seen Mara be harassed out a lot. That's sort of how you keep control of this lane. Vex is going to try and stay very far back, and it's not a particularly smart move for us to commit onto him. Mara kind of has to get in our face, or we're going to push Vex back, so we're able to focus all of our damage onto her. Right now, we're not really losing much. Maybe, we're getting a little bit of a CS advantage because we're able to abuse Mara and Vex and push them back under tower. Vex didn't get as much of that wave as you probably would have liked. And that's how you handle anytime someone goes with a double or goes with a melee support. You have to make use of the fact that if you have two ranged characters in the lane, you can abuse, and you push up the wave and you get it under tower, and do not stall it. Stalling the wave in Dawngate is not effective, especially at early levels, unless you have them completely and totally zoned out, and to the point at which they're 2 levels behind you. The rest of the time, you're just better off just pushing the wave under tower, because there are very few shapers who levels 1 through 4 can easily farm under tower. We got a gank coming in from Petrus. He's not able to kill me, but actually they are able to lock down Mina. So I think she might have had a better chance just staying on top of me and getting out.
Installing the wave is actually something that against certain shapers as Gladiator is also a fairly good idea in that respect too. Against notably just straight up melee shapers are generally going to be when you want to try to stall the wave just to make sure that you can keep whoever it is out of experience range, which is something you can do against certain shapers. Kindra at the early levels you can do that with, and Freya at the early levels as well, but once they hit about level 4 or so, you gotta start being careful of those two.
Yeah. During those extra times, this was a nice snare. He did get his ultimate and went very, very aggressive. You actually pick up the kill before I'm able to get the snipe off. But that was Vex.
I saved your ass.
You did. Vex just went a little too deep. He, overestimated the amount of damage he was going to be able to deal. Pushed way too far in, and he went with Blitz, and Blitz is a decent movement speed bonus, but it's more effective when people are stopping to try and kill you. Like when they're stopping to land that CC and then they stop chasing you, that's where that movement speed bonus has its greatest effect. Or when you're trying to engage on someone, using it to just sort of like close a gap isn't really that effective. And here we see the Dibs. The Dibs has fallen. Our newer player, Ome's, got a little too far forward on a fairly squishy shaper. Part of that's an experience, part of that's just limitations on Dibs. You have to be careful when you're dealing with someone like Dibs, who doesn't really have that great of an innate escape. He has his bubble shields, which give a slight movement speed bonus, but it's not really enough. And then we wind up losing Azaraki up there in the top as well.
Yeah, in the start of that engagement, there was also a misplay in the team fight respect of all that in the first place, and that was, I actually went in for a stun and a spin and all that, and I managed to get, I forgot who it was. It was not Desecrator or Petrus, but there was a third shaper up in that top lane, and I actually managed to get him down to about 30 health, and I was talking to my team saying, all right, target him, and but even though he was clearly in melee range, or not melee range, but in range of both of our top laners, no one actually finished off the kill, so I actually had to chase after it as Petrus, who has one ranged ability, so that helped. That took away our damage to win the rest of the team fight right then and there, and we actually ended up losing to Desecrator. So.
Yep, so here in this play that Vex really should have run, I wound up picking up a double kill. We were able to properly kite back the Mara, keep her off of me. I landed chain ultimate, got ultimate up again, land chain ultimate. Fairly straightforward Zalgus play. Good on Mina to time her jumping off with her ultimate. We do get chased out by Petrus here. Mina shield, very, very useful. She's going to jump off, slow him down. If he decides to turn back around, I can always land a chain on him, and we're able to get away from it pretty much scot-free. We don't get the tower push like we were looking for, which is something that Zalgus tends not to be able to do very often. He doesn't clear waves all that hardcore in the early game, so at that moment, it was, our key plan was to just push the wave up and try and get some tower damage. We get a little bit, but not as much as we were hoping for because of the Petrus.
Yeah, and one thing that that happened during those 2 kills that you got as well was a little bit of that overstaying that you were talking about, where Mara just couldn't exactly decide whether or not she really wanted to go in for the kill or wanted to back off. Now, even if she had fully committed to the kill, she might have gotten one, but it would have been a really rare occurrence. But up in the top lane, we almost picked up the kill there, but a little bit of a misplay right there. I mentioned this during game as well, but Vex should have used his ultimate a little bit sooner to apply the extra damage that it gets. Because if you go back and watch that, he actually didn't apply, or he didn't use his ultimate until I had started backing off. Whereas if he used it when I started to gank, then we would have had enough damage to finish off dibs long ago.
Yeah, just, not throwing out the damage early. So at this point in our lane, we have a little bit of advantage. And I think Mara kind of all-ins me here. And, Vex is actually going to destroy me. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, no, I thought he got me there. I thought one more shrapnel shot destroyed me. But I'm going to check potions. Do I still die?
I don't know.
No, I
don't remember your lane. I just remember what I'm doing.
Arbitrary questions. So I've got Mina. She has her purity like most supports will build. I'm chugging through potions. They got another 30 seconds on it. So that'll get me up to probably a little bit more than half health. Yeah, I feel like Vex might have been able to get me if he had Blink, or if he had his Blitz and hadn't wasted it when he had. It's probably up soon, if not now. But if he had that Blitz for that dive, he probably could have gotten me. He went way too deep on the previous one, and didn't necessarily have me in range. He pretty much had me dead to rights if he could have gotten off the Blitz, and then the Mina stun or fear would not have gotten him.
Yep, and I'm just trying to remember what happened in the top lane over here. I think this is an example of overstaying in the top lane, where a lot of times it's just more worth it to let the farm go, let 1 or 2 waves go, and just go back rather than stay in lane with low health, especially if your shapers don't have init sustain. But it looks like you guys get in another engagement in the bottom lane, and fairly good coordination between the two of you. I mean, just the fact that Mina has a really easy kit to follow up on helps with that as well, because you can generally tell when she's about to jump, about half a second before the fear actually lands. You can see that animation start. So that really sets up a lot of plays that you can have to follow up on it.
Although I did whiff the laser. If that laser had hit, I think we would have gotten the double kill. Either way, we're going to get some tower pressure. We'll get some solid pressure onto the tower. I probably should have lined up my shot a little bit better and paid more attention to it. I don't know, it happens. But yeah, this Mara keeps stepping forward way too aggressively, and that's really what's killing her lane. She thinks she can win fights when Vex hasn't really hit a damage spike. He's not really far ahead. His farm isn't that much greater than mine. We're pretty much on equal footing in terms of what we've got, and that just means I'm stronger, because just from my straight abilities, Zalgus is a stronger shaper than Vex is.
near the early game anyway. As we approach late game, Vex reaches that point where if he activates his W and his ultimate, it just takes 2 to 4 auto attacks to actually take down a big shaper, especially when he has items. But over here, we try to make something happen in the enemy jungle, and I think we might actually end up picking up this kill. Maybe.
Yeah, I think you guys managed to get it with the spin chase.
Oh no, we don't get the kill. You see, I thought I was gonna end up hitting him into the wall with my ultimate, but I misjudged the amount of distance that he would get knocked back, and the rest of their team sort of followed up. And on top of that, we didn't really have our entire team on the same page right there.
I didn't see where Dibs died though.
I didn't either. I think that happened near the beginning of the fight, so he wasn't there, and the rest of our team was really sort of scattered. There wasn't really too much follow-up in terms of, alright, my team is going in for this, I should probably help them out with that. There was none of that, so we ended up going into a 3v4 or so, rather than a 4v4 or a 5v4.
Yep. Now Vex, he's finally got some space to work. He was able to kind of get us in a crossfire. We couldn't really run through him, and we couldn't get away. I think this results in that tower going down, so this is really where our team, our coordination sort of starts to fail.
Well, yeah, and until now there wasn't really too much in the way of things you could coordinate other than just lane ganks between your lane and the jungler. So we're going to start seeing team fight phases start to come into play, and then we can talk a little bit about positioning, since if you look at our team, we have a really positioning reliant team. Both Zalgus and Vex have 0 mobility between them, so they're going to rely on peel, they're going to rely on positioning, and they're going to rely on blink or other spells that they decide to take. So it's going to be a really interesting thing to see this sort of game, and honestly I would have liked to see our team pick a little bit more peel for such a immobile backline. All we really have is the Petrus and the Mina. Dibs has a tiny bit of peel, but it's not really anything in the way of, say, Desecrator's peel. Desecrator has amazing peel. He's got a lot of movement blocking abilities, which really helps keep people like Vex or Zalgus alive.
Yep, and here I'm just gonna get caught, and I just die. There's nothing I could do about that.
Just straight up caught.
Yeah, no, I didn't anticipate the fact that Desecrator's snare was gonna grab me there. I thought I had faster movement speed, and all of them were waiting pretty much over that wall for something like this to happen. We're gonna get one revenge kill, but that's really not worth it, and I don't even know if Mina makes it out of here. So that was us not paying attention to ward positioning, us not paying attention to where they were on the map, the fact that we didn't see them, and then just me completely getting caught out.
Yeah, as Zalgus, you basically never want to stand in front of the rest of your team, especially around that sort of any curve like that. Especially when you're playing against a Petrus, he can actually jump, sort of clip around some of the corners of the walls of the map. So you really want to be careful when playing against a Petrus that it's really easy to get caught out around a corner of a wall, especially if the other side of it has a brush. So right there, he was able to clip a little bit over the wall, which gave him a little bit of extra distance on his jump, which aided in the catching out of the Brawn.
Yep. I'm also not a particularly great Zalgus player. One of the reasons I was playing him, I'm trying to get better at him. So I'm used to playing very, very upfront, high escapability carries, generally ranged carries that have pretty good escape. Like, I play a lot of Michaela, and I play a very, very aggressive Dessa. So I was learning how to be the laser master, and it resulted in me getting a face full of, I don't know, Desecrator and then stone. So like tombstones and then fist stone. It just didn't go very well in that engagement. But our team still has pretty good positioning. We're not too, or game position, we're not too far behind. We still do need to take that tower, and we lost the Spirit Well, so we're kind of on the back foot. We need to set up a couple of plays. I need to get off like perfect 2, 3, 4 chain combos with my ultimate, and we need to really put people in a corridor where Vex can blow them up.
Yeah, and again, if you guys in chat have any questions to ask or you want to spark a discussion, feel free to do so, and we'll try to participate as much as we can while there's a lull in the action. And right here we see another example of just getting caught out a little bit. But I think for the most part it doesn't end up too badly until the rest of the team comes in, and again, we see Vex sort of in the front of the team fight, which is never something you really want to see.
Oh, I remember
So
this engagement. This one goes for a little while too.
and part of this is, again, the lack of a tank that's other than Petrus. But the fact that you landed a triple chain, 3 chains, ended up turning that fight around in the favor, even though the beginning of the fight had pretty bad positioning. And again, Vex and Zalgus are really positioning reliant. You have to make sure you are spot on with your positioning, otherwise you're going to be burst down really quickly and you're going to be taken out of the fight really quickly.
Yeah, the other thing was that Mara went really far forward with her ultimate. So she popped her ultimate before landing her stun. Now she got off the vine and did manage to pull off that play. But if she had waited until after she had already gotten in melee range and after Mina had feared her away, she probably could have made better use of her ultimate, had hit multiple targets. We pretty much were able to just run right through her and take her out. And, that wound up resulting in them losing their Petrus, their Dibs, and Mara. So that, that wasn't the best play. Or Desecrator. Do they have a Dibs?
No. They have Desecrator.
Yeah, Desecrator. Yeah, so early spell pop by Mara. She thought she could close the gap a little bit quicker, a little bit faster than she did.
Alright, and take a look here, because we take a binding in the top lane, but our top lane decides to stay, which is a really bad idea. And I tried to do my best to peel Vex off, but he actually used his Blitz. So we're not going to be able to get too much in terms of the return off of that, but most of that is just overstaying. Like you said, we should have been well, you said overstaying at the beginning, but something that I can add to that is that they took the tower and should have just backed off right after they took the tower. There was no point in staying there. There was no way we could have gotten the Spirit Well or a follow-up tower to that. It was just straight up staying too long and overextending.
Yep, and now is a great time for them to be making a Parasite play. They've got 3 of us down. I'm really the only person in any position to contest, and I can't really contest. I throw in my laser, trying to slow them down a bit. I don't remember. Do I make it away? Yeah, I make it away from this. Chains for days. So I bait out a spell, and that's about it. That's really all I get for trying to stop the Parasite. There really wasn't a lot we could do there. And the bigger problem is when Parasite becomes a viable possibility, when death timers start to be a little bit above 20 seconds, you have to be worried about Parasite plays. And even though we had it warded and we knew it was happening, we made a play at a bad moment. We should have waited or backed up. If we really wanted to fight,
should have played safer, yeah.
Yeah. If we really wanted to fight, we should have set it up a little safer, because Parasite was starting to become a viable possibility, and it's already level 2. Or is it level 3 yet?
It's level 2.
Okay.
Level 3 is 25 minutes. And at this point, Mina, the only person who's not in our group, is starting to get fairly BM, so I'm just typing to her in chat every now and again and saying, yeah, don't do that. It doesn't help at all, and blah blah blah. And that there's something to be taken from that too, because if you think about it, a lot of people generally, if they're doing a bad job, you don't need to remind them over and over and over again that they're doing a bad job. Like, I'm pretty sure that either they realize it themselves, or after the first time you tell them, they realize it. But on top of that, negative reinforcement, I just really don't see how it's supposed to help anything. The mindset behind that, I'm not even sure about. The mindset behind positive reinforcement is, you commend them on a good play that they made, and they feel inspired to make more plays like that. With negative reinforcement, you're just making them hate you. Like, if you want people to listen to you, don't name call them, don't say they're retarded, and don't berate them.
And the Zalgus ran away. Can't catch the Zalgoose.
Yeah, so that was actually a really good disengage on our parts, but that's all we could have really done. That there was no way for us to win the fight, so all we could have really done was disengage, and that's about it. We're forced to back off.
Oh dear God, this is about to be bad. So I think this is it. Yeah. So our AD carry and our support were like, we'll pinch. I got pinched.
I don't know what actually happened there.
Yeah.
To be quite honest.
I think they were like, yeah, guys, we're on our way. We'll get there. Still on our way. And they just got there a little bit too late. And oh man, I get stunned out there. All the chains, laser fail. And yeah, so one thing in terms, look at the map. There's only one ward down, so we failed to ward. That was terrible. If we had had better ward coverage in our own jungle, we would have seen Petrus hooking around for the play. We could have told them, "Hey guys, don't go that way," or if you're gonna go that way, book it. Or we didn't have proper ward coverage out. Some of that was the fact that we were on the back foot. We didn't have time to set up any ward coverage. We were constantly being pushed in on the tower since they had parasite and level and item advantage, so we were a bit behind.
And part of that, there was just a lot of new players suffer this, but not knowing how far behind you are, and trying to make plays as though you're even when you're really not. Like, even if they were to catch out one or two members of their team, in a 2v2, their team would win, and maybe even in a 1v2, depending on who it was, their team would still probably end up winning that, because at this point they're extremely far ahead, got almost 10 kills up on us, has had Spearwell control the entire game, Parasite control, and they've taken all of our bindings. Like, there wasn't really anything you could have done, even if you try to come from that angle, so part of that's just not realizing how far behind you were.
Yeah.
For those two that ended up getting caught out earlier.
Yeah, and it'll happen. Right now, Dawngate is still fairly new. People haven't really learned all the item costs. There's definitely people up at the top tier who understand that. But if you're coming from League of Legends, if you're coming from Dota 2, Dota 2 especially, it's very, very easy to tell when someone's behind. They don't have the items. Or they have items, but the items aren't of extremely heavy value. At 20 minutes, if someone's got Blink, Dagger, Agdam, Scepter, they're freaking fed, and you can tell that very, very easily. In League of Legends, you can also tell that very, very, very easily because it's been around a long time. If you're an experienced mobile player from that, when someone's terrifying. But when kills are a little bit more even in this situation, we're down about 8 kills. That's not too bad depending on who the kills are on. It's a little bit harder to tell because of how the number of passives in this game and how they, interact with each other. It's hard to tell where someone's going to have maybe some secret damage you didn't think they were going to have. Or they'll be able to sustain in a way you weren't expecting. They have that rebirth that they just got and you didn't realize it, and suddenly that tank just healed through your entire combo. And Omaze went in way too early.
Yeah, that was quite early. So I actually managed to get the steal off, which, yeah, we managed to... that was just out-vanquishing him. Like, there's not much else to that. Unfortunately, there's nothing else we can do. Even if we stole that and got away, we still probably wouldn't have been able to win a team fight if we were to all heal up and fight a 5v5, just due to the sheer amount of aheadness they are, the sheer amount of how far ahead they are.
They hurt. They've got
They certainly hurt.
They've got lots of big health bars, big swords. Mario, don't chase me. Don't do it. But yeah,
Mario's got like a cross between a sword
Vex
and a
literally
saber,
just like
sword and a cleaver or
hit me
something.
3 times. Petrus came in from behind. Base damage value even on tanks is still very, very strong in this game, and we just couldn't do anything about it. Even RNG laser core was trying. The Guardian
Didn't
tried.
RNG the right place?
Yeah, I think they need to work on that, because like RNGing onto the core is never the right side. It's better to force one side or the other. Those algorithms though. So we do wind up losing this game, and you guys can see why. We didn't properly ward. When we got put off balance, we didn't rally properly. We weren't calling things correctly, and our positioning wasn't good on a team that was very, very much about heavy positioning. Some of that was due to inexperience, some of that was due to just misplays, some of that was due to this wasn't 5v5 team practice. We weren't necessarily in the zone, but those were our mistakes, and you guys saw how the game unfolded because of them.
Yeah, and there's also a pick and ban misplay right there, and we can pause in 3, 2, 1. Sorry for the unfortunate timing on that pause right after you die, but
Yeah, it's alright. That was sort of the point of that. It was like, I died. You guys saw it. I'm playing Viridian. I got caught out. I died. I didn't pay attention to the fact that I was a Viridian at less than half health, and I died.
alright, so what was I up to? What was I about to say? Alright, so we can use this time. If anyone in chat, there are 17 of you. Come on, someone speak up. But we can talk about something. We can discuss things. If you guys have any questions about how to play Dawngate, how to play against a certain style, how to play against a certain shaper, how to improve your play, feel free to ask them in chat right now. And otherwise, we will get on to the second portion of this video, which are just a bunch of clips compiled together about other plays that happen. I believe this first one has the same 4 people playing, but they're on it's on a different game.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, so saw me down a Viridian clip back there. Doesn't really matter because it's just me getting pwned. So here is, I don't actually remember how this play goes down. We're ahead right now. As you guys can already see, Azaraki and Goofafon are already level 12 compared to the level 9 of both Dibs and Volok. So I'm just gonna play it, and we'll keep on going. And
all right.
So here comes Kel coming over the side, and Goofafon just pretty much gets caught up against the wall. Azaraki's gonna be able to jump away, and Reyna's gonna get chased down. I think that it's a good idea to step up. I'm like, they don't have any. Oh dear God, they still have CC, and I just get destroyed.
Yeah, I think Makilla has a blink here, but no, not saved. So. Yeah, a lot of that was just not being aware of where they were, and also being caught out. Again, if you're an AD carry, you never really want to be the first one into a fight, because right there, Kel was able to dodge past me and just straight into Kensu, which is never something you want to see. But here comes a Parasite fight that we're going to be able to turn, and that's simply because, again, they're not far enough ahead to try to force a straight-up para fight. So we're going to take down Volok, who is not their jungler, but a big portion of their damage, and we're able to secure the para, and we're going to pick up another kill off of that as well. I don't think we'll get another one, but this is another big example of how Parasite plays can be turned really, really easily.
Yeah, and the other thing is Muzzy is down about, what, 1 level to you?
Something, something around that.
Yeah, so Azaraki had the Vanquish damage ahead of him. Muzzy wasn't going to be able to do
as much damage on the Vanquish.
Yeah.
And we can pause in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we use OBS because I'm not paying for XSplit. I'm sorry.
And we're also not paying for Fraps. Also, can you stream with Fraps? I don't know if you can.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, streaming software is tricky. OBS is one of the better options that you can use.
Especially if you don't want to pay money.
Yeah. Fraps is... The thing about Fraps is really, really intensive on your CPU. Fraps is crazy CPU intensive. So is XSplit. If you're willing to pay for XSplit, it's like, what is it, like $30 for a year? Something like that?
I don't know the values.
It used to be $30 for a year, way back before OBS was even a thing, and we were still using XSplit. This was like Season 2 League of Legends days. Like, XSplit, let me double check. XSplit is really, those are your 3 main options, unless you use Mac and then there's something.
Yeah, I don't know about Macs, but yeah, OBS is probably your best option if you want to get into streaming or VOD making.
You may need to change your optimization though. That can always be a serious issue if you're not optimized properly. You can run into a bunch of bad lag issues. Let's see, how much is XSplit? I mean, if you're willing to spend a little money on XSplit is your other option.
If you have a good computer, with OBS you can stream in 1080. 1080 HD and 60 FPS, and that's for free. With OBS, you're limited at 30 FPS, or no, with XSplit, you're limited at 30 FPS, and I think 720p. And
No, you
I
can
don't
go
know about
up to
fraps.
1080 on XSplit. It's just trickier, and you have to look
Well,
up the
without paying.
guides. Yeah, without paying. If you're willing to pay for XSplit, like I said, it's $40 a year now. So it used to be 30. So if you're willing to spend $40 to be able to stream for a year, and it's something you want to invest in, XSplit is your other option. Other than that, I would take the time to look into proper OBS optimization. So yeah.
Yep. All right. You ready to go back into
Yep.
the game?
So we'll start in 3, 2, 1. So this was part of that previous play. So all that play went great, and then I'm like, hey guys, where is everyone? And Muzzy shows up and starts to beat on me. I try and juke and kill the dibs, and I'm literally just calling to everyone. I'm like, why did everybody leave me? We had a free spirit wall. They're like, yeah, bro, we're taking the spirit wall on the other side of the map. What are you doing?
Well, as soon as we saw that you were in trouble, we just decided to rotate down to the bottom side of the map to take that spirit well. But yeah, most of this is just miscommunication. He thought we were going to follow him.
I kind
We
of
didn't
tunnel
know he
I
was out
tunnel
there.
visioned. I tunnel visioned on the spirit wall and thought it'd be fine.
Well, it would have been fine if the rest of us were there, but just miscommunications. And this is an example of trying to force fights when your entire team's not there, especially the one that's got the most kills and is fed. But yeah, so I'm sitting at base while all this happens, and they actually managed to collapse really well, especially considering that we don't have any vision this deep. Like, we have vision near the center of the map, but trying to force anything that deep into the game just doesn't fare too well if you don't have wards.
Yeah. Our other problem is starting to be that I'm not far enough ahead to hand. Like, this is a pretty even game. Viridian needs to be ahead. Like, I just got poked for half my health. I can't go anywhere near this fight. I do and I die. So I try and pick off the Zalgus off to the side. And he burns me. Like, just absolutely burns me. Like, I thought I'd be able to dive on top of him. I couldn't get near him. And that was one bad positioning on my part. Two, us picking a fight where we were behind. Here's another example. I'm, again, going to get a little bit burned. Dibs is going to fly forward to try and kill me. We're going to just, like, our Dibs just blew up. Their Zalgus got so far ahead, and we couldn't properly position our fights to take him out. I couldn't get behind the back line. Our tanks couldn't keep their tanks busy enough, so Kensu didn't have enough of a line, and Dibs was getting blown up too easily.
Yeah, and on top of that, during this game, we actually ran out of communications with Hawkeye during the game.
Oh, yeah.
He had some real life stuff to deal with, which obviously takes precedence over the game. But the unfortunate part about that is that you have your initiator on without the communication with the rest of your team, and on top of that, it's not an initiator that or the player playing the initiator is not the most well versed in Dawngate. Like, he hasn't had as much experience as Braun or I, so yeah, that's where most of that happened. I didn't know you continued playing the video.
So there's one more clip towards the end here, which is basically just one more parasite fight to go over how proper positioning is needed. Their Vex was too far up towards the top corner of the cove. Our team was able to go in and take him out pretty handily, and that's basically that. So we're out of clips for the day, guys, because no one's sending in clips. There are 20 people in this chat at one point during the show. One of you has got to have something. Lucky Apollo is off the hook because he's got OBS issues. He's off the hook. The rest of you, I demand some answers, people.
He is off the hook, but do you know of any good places, like guide places, to look up OBS settings or find the right OBS
The actual
settings?
OBS website's pretty good. There was a really good guide to OBS and streaming that got floated around the Challenger League of Legends scene about a year ago that I want to go look for, and I'll see if I can find that and actually post a Reddit post on that. You guys can send footage. Ha! Someone interested in sending footage. If you guys see the Reddit post, there we go. That's actually the email where you guys can send clips to. we'd love to see it, Lucky Apollo, and I'll do my best to see if I can find what guides I can on how to set up optimization for streaming, because that's one of the big things that really sets a lot of streamers back. Is either you don't have the right hardware, or you've misaligned you've messed up the frame rates on OBS, or on whatever your graphics card settings are, and that used to be the big issue. Like, you'd be streaming fine, and then you'd change a setting, and then the next day, this was a big XSplit issue back in the day, where like everything would just crumble. You'd go from being able to stream 1080p perfect to just absolutely nothing. Again, a lot of this will clean itself up when we get a spectator mode. Please, Waystone, please. But till then, that's one way to do it. The other, I'd say look into, if you're really having an issue, look into XSplit. Your encoding matters. The bitrate is really your big thing. I don't know the rules on bitrate anymore. I just know this is what my computer runs with. But your bitrate is the key thing that determines how well you can stream, and it also helps determine how many frames you're trying to run with. Then you get video encoding, number of frames you're running with, the filter speed, the resolution, all that kind of stuff. Those are the key things you need to look out for, and I'll see if I can find some OBS guides to help clean that up.
All the settings can be quite intimidating at first, so that's why we're trying to find a guide, and I think I had someone else, not even Braun, help me configure it. I think it was way back when I actually got help configuring OBS, but yeah, there's quite a few things that you need to take into account, and like I don't want to try to explain it right now, because I'm afraid that I might say something that's incorrect and inadvertently screw you over unintentionally, but yeah, hopefully we can find that OBS resource for you guys and get that there. Also, next week I will be in Miami on a family vacation, so I will not be joining you guys on At What Cost, but Braun is going to keep chugging along, whatever the phrase is. And, Soldiering on. I mean, you can say it a lot of different ways. Something on.
So there will be an episode next week, although Azaraki won't be here to run it with me.
Indeed. And do you want to tell people why we're not going to be able to put on an episode 2 weeks from now?
Oh, yeah. So for any of you guys who are interested, and a lot of you guys have probably come from the League of Legends community, we are both from the northeast of the United States, and I specifically live in Massachusetts. Azaraki lives in Vermont. There is a small convention called Kineticon. It's an anime convention I used to go to in high school. It's in Hartford, Connecticut, and we are going to be commentating that weekend. We'll actually be live at the venue. It'll be streamed on Azubu, so when that happens, next week I should have more information. So if you guys are League of Legends fans, come over from Dawngate and don't mind watching some casting. We'll be casting this live tournament. It's actually got a pretty big prize pool, about $6,000. So if you guys are actually some League of Legends players, weren't planning on going to this, look up Kineticon, see if you can get see if you can still get some passes to go. Take a shot at about $6,000, because it's not a challenger event for League of Legends. It's just this open it's the Northeast League of Legends Open tournament. It's a $6,000 prize pool for basically just an open event, and that's pretty cool. So we won't be here. So episode 9, which is 2 weeks from now, won't be going on. We'll talk about, we'll mention it again, and we may put out some other content midweek for you guys to make up for that. Not sure. Also, Shiny. I thought that was a perfect thing. I thought that had the OBS answers. We'll still look for more OBS answers for you guys. If there are no more questions, I think we'll bring down the stream and we'll have a shorter day today, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, so Shiny Best, I think you accidentally included the word "this" in the link, so it should just be /estimator.
Does it work?
Let me take out the "this" and let me see if that works.
I need to re-optimize my OBS settings since I changed
I think
graphics cards at some point.
Pretty cool to check out all of my settings and make sure that they're optimal for streaming. But yeah, and we certainly like to meet people. So if you guys manage to if
Oh,
you
that's
guys
really
manage to
cool.
get out to the Kineticon event, then we will be happy to meet you. Just say, you watch at what cost or whatever, and we'll say hi.
Yeah, and I will follow us on Twitter, guys. I'll probably tweet out about the event. So if you guys are still League of Legends fans, don't feel like making a trek out to this random little event in Connecticut. The stream will be up on the Zubu TV, and I'll make sure to tweet that out. So if you guys are interested, take a look. Get to hear us do some League of Legends commentating, which is where we started in all of this nonsense, and make fun of the way I dress, because I dress like a hipster. I wear too much plaid. It's cool.
And a hat.
And
always.
a hat. And always the hat. The hat will never go away. So I think at this point, we'll end the show for today. Look out for any more content coming out of At What Cost, and we'll see you guys next week.